Okay, I'm going to make a mold of an elevator. This is a splash. This is also a gel coat, epoxy gel coat splash. Pretty old, been through the wars. Basically, it's a plug. It's half of an elevator, and you can see it's actually positive. This is positive up here. It's not a negative. So from this, I'm going to make a mold. And what I've done first and foremost is I've boxed it, you can see. So I've got a wooden frame basically all the way around. Then I've closed up little holes with some pattern maker's putty, and I've put release agent, and this is the release agent, the chemical release agent that I'm using. It's made by Zyvex, called Flexi 6. Extra slip, very, very slippery stuff. Now, it is so slippery that it's very difficult to get the gel coat to go onto the back of this without fish-eyeing. So after I've put on a coat of that, or a couple of coats of that, and let it dry thoroughly for about 30 minutes, I then am going to put, well, I have already put Ram Wax, which is just a wax-based release agent. It's a non-silicone based release agent, and this I've applied onto the mold completely, and I've waited 15-20 minutes for it to dry. Then I've taken just old t-shirt material and polished this to a nice high shine. So now I am ready to start laying the gel coat first, and after that I'm going to use the fabric. Now the fabric I'm going to use is 163 gram first behind the gel coat, which we'll show you, and it's all cut and prepared, and I've got some little strips there. And then I'm going to use about 3 layers of this heavier 410 gram biaxial fabric, and this is a lovely fabric. It drapes easily, it is non-woven, it's a stitched fabric. These lines running this way are stitches holding the fibers, and you can see quite clearly how the fibers are orientated this way on this surface and on the other surface, and you can just see sort of shadow lines of it. That's the fibers running in the opposite direction. So there those fibers are running opposite direction to these fibers, and they stitch together, and that's what holds them in place. And it's very drapeable, and it's 410 grams per square meter, so it's a nice heavy grade fabric, builds up layers quickly, and it makes for very, very good, strong and stable molds. This is also, by the way, cut at 45 degrees. If you know your fabrics, you'll recognize this as a twirl weave by this pattern here, but the fibers are also running at 45 degrees. So I've got my fibers running at 45 degrees, and you'll notice because of that I don't have loose fibers all down the edges, which is common practice when you cut the fabric at 0-90 degrees. So if I cut this along this line, the pattern would run at 45 degrees, but the fibers would be loose, they would fall out all the time. And I can actually demonstrate that. I'll take a little piece which I pre-cut at 45 degrees, and I'm just going to go over here with my roller cutter, and I'll cut that off at 0-90. So that's 0-90, and immediately you can see how the fibers are falling out here. So you can see that the fiber orientation in the piece that I've got is at 45 degrees. So they come to the end this way, and they don't fall out and then get everywhere, because this is very irritating. These fibers, as you're working, they're constantly falling out and irritating you and getting in everywhere. And there you can see them. I can just force them out of the end like that. So they get stuck in your brush and they fall out all over the show. So I don't like working or cutting my fabric at 0.90. It's more economical to cut it at 0.90 because you don't really have little diamonds like this, which you have to basically use for scrap pieces, but it's much nicer and easier to work with fabric that's cut at 45 degrees. Okay, so that's my layup. It's going to be 163 gram first behind the gel coat, and a few layers of the 410 gram biaxial, and I'll basically finish it off with a layer of this, and you'll see this all in the next video.